So brand awareness is when people are actually aware of your story. They actually come to you and they find out more about you. So they're aware, and it gives you that kind of personal connection with them.
Welcome back to For Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneurs. I am Eric Verdi, episode 28. Joining us this week is Jamillah Rahmaad, Befriend Your Brand. She is a brand awareness expert. That's her superpower, where she helps brands actually find their niche, find what they're good at, where they should be marketing, where they should be looking for customer acquisition. Jamillah is right down the street from me in DC. She is from Flint, Michigan. Originally, went to Atlanta, and then has been in DC for about 3 years. And we've had people from all over the world, so I get somebody close to home for me. So welcome, Jamillah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you. I watched your, if you should follow Jamillah on Facebook. I watched your video this morning from April, and I watched the first 6-7 minutes of it, and I took out 4 or 5 nuggets that I can tell you know your stuff. You know what you're doing. So can you give us your backstory, Jamillah?
Yes. So initially, I started out as a publicist for small business owners. That was like my first business. That was what I quit my job for. That was, what led me to where I am today. But over time, one thing that I realized was, when you're getting brand awareness in the digital world that we live in today, you have to be able to turn that offline personality that you have, your offline sales, your offline brand awareness, that has to convert into the digital world. So becoming a digital public relations strategist is kind of where I've gone with things, simply because publicity has changed, media has changed, how we do things has changed. Like right now, in the time of COVID-19, in the pandemic, everyone is, connecting through webinars, connecting digitally on social media. So it couldn't just stay for me in public relations and being in that offline world. So I had the opportunity to kind of learn digital marketing, learn how to start telling your story online so that it captures people's attention, so that it converts sales. And that has brought me to who I am now. But originally, I started out as a traditional publicist, one of the ones that you see on TV, one of the ones that people talk about in the traditional sense of what public relations is. But I think that whole industry has changed. And I think that it's something that we really need to talk more about.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right that this world that we're in now, and it's really been evolving the last 5 or 6 years, going from offline to online. There is value still marketing and talking to your audience offline, but you have to have a presence online. And just like you said, and we talk about this all the time, and I talk about it, is you got to tell your story to your audience. Like, people are either going to connect with you or they're not. And those people that aren't going to connect with you, you need to find them quickly, because bye, Felicia, the people that do connect with you, give them more, give them more. The people that do connect with you, they'll read, a web page, a sales page takes 10 minutes to read. They'll read a 15-page report. They'll find out more about you. So you're going from a PR strategist to more digital. What led you on this journey? Was there a pivotal moment, or is it just a personal exploration? What led you on this journey?
I think that it kind of was the snowball effect. Working in PR, we did a lot of, offline events and in-person things, but how do you get the masses to your event? How do you publicize something enough? There's not enough radio. There's not enough TV that people actually consume and watch for you to do that. So you have to know, how do I move and shake in the digital world? So for me, this all started from working with clients as their publicist and really trying to build in strategies that made sense, especially for, I don't want to call it the millennial market, but I'm going to just call it that because when you say that word, people understand. But for the millennial market, when you're doing, promotional work, you have to figure out where they're connecting, and they were connecting most online. And that was when, Facebook started having Facebook business. That was when that came along. That was when Instagram started being a place where you can consume information and not just pictures. So it had to be, something that really amplifies brand awareness, but it also showcases people's stories. It also helps you understand the value in their business. It also helps you understand the CEO behind the business, because that's something that people really look into. Like, who's running, especially as a small business, who's running the business? How did they get started? Where did they come from? Do they really know their stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it kind of was the snowball effect of learning all of this while doing the traditional business that I learned in college, the traditional things that I learned in, my first jobs and in the first part of my career life. And then taking what I learned from digital marketing and trying and testing things, honestly, trying to see what works, trying to see what strategies for my clients would work when it came to merging with social media and merging with the online world that would make sense in promoting their brand.
So Jamillah, you are speaking my language. Snowball effect is something I've talked about for years.
Really?
Yes, it is. It is. Like yeah, and you just got to keep that. You start out small, and you don't get very much traction. You really don't. And that's actually, if you look behind me, if you're looking online, it's actually I've written 3 books. That third one right there is The Secret of the 3 C's, which is consistent, compelling content. My premise is that an entrepreneur, business owner has to put out consistent, compelling content. It can be over really any medium they want to. It can be audio, it can be video, it can be written word. They do what they do best, and that's a Gary Vee-ism, but you just have to consistently put out your content. So I want to ask you a question here. I want to go in a different direction. You talk big about brand awareness, right? So what is the difference between brand awareness, marketing, and sales? What's the difference in those 3?
So brand awareness is when people are actually aware of your story. They actually come to you and they find out more about you. So they're aware, and it gives you that kind of personal connection with them. When it comes to marketing, that is the traditional things you see, people posting their flyers or posting about whatever it is that they have in their services, and they're offering something specifically to make a sale. What was the third one? It was
sales.
Brand awareness, marketing, sales. Sales are sales. Sales are when you are trying to specifically convert someone into buying from you. What are those actions that you're taking? How are they actually going to transition from, okay, here's something that I might could use, to actually handing over their credit card or swiping or whatever it is to actually making that purchase?
Okay. Great. Then I want to go. I want to keep going in this direction because the listeners, viewers are going to find value out of this. So you meet with a business. Obviously you can't spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on a brand awareness campaign without the sales. When you come in to talk to a business, do you give them an overall picture, or are you just working on the brand aspect? So let's say, I hire you or we join forces and say, Jamillah, here's my business, here's my structure. Help me plug the holes that are leaking here. So what does that relationship look like?
Yep. So that relationship looks like, first, we're going to do a call to actually do a deep dive into your business. And I think that this is one of probably the most important parts of once we decide to have a relationship together. One of the most important parts is actually understanding, where are the gaps in your business? Is it because, maybe people don't understand what it is you do, or do they not understand the value in your product or your service? So we take a deep dive into really discovering, where are the gaps? Is it because not enough people know about you? Or is it because enough people know about you, but they don't actually understand how you can help them? And from there, we create a strategy around, how can we fill in that gap? How can we either get more people to know about you, or how can we transform your story into value? And one thing that I call that is turning your story into sales, because a lot of people online, there's tons of options out there. You can pick anybody. You can pick anybody to build a website. You can pick anybody to, I don't know, do whatever, right? So why is someone going to choose you? What is it about you that's going to really make them know that you're the right person to work with, know that you are the right person who can get the job done? What testimonials do you have? What, as they call it in the world, what kind of receipts are you showing up with to actually tell people that this is something that I can do? Here's, you know, something that I've done for someone else. So it has to be kind of full brand awareness when you're working with me anyway. I don't kind of keep it at just one aspect, but I do believe that it all starts with actually showing people your value. And you do that through storytelling. You do that through talking about the value that you provide to them. And then you figure out your marketing strategy from there. And usually for me, as a ClickFunnels expert, that takes me into the digital realm of, once we've figured out your strategy, how do we start funneling people into your business? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. So if you're looking at the pyramid, being maybe sales is at the bottom, marketing's at the top, marketing's in the middle, brand awareness is at the top. You're actually starting at the top and formulating a plan, like almost like an inverse funnel. So do you, all right, so we'll veer off into funnels. Do you build funnels for people, or do you have funnel builders that build for you? Okay.
I do have a team of contractors that I work with, but for the most part, when it comes to outlining and doing all of those things, I'm the girl who does it for you.
Do you do the copy too?
No.
Okay. So I've had a funnel builder on here, Rachel White, and then Greg Blake, a copywriter. So I will put you in contact with them. Greg is phenomenal. He's helped me actually write. We've got a whole sales funnel for my book that we're finishing up. It's slacking on me because I got to finish my VSLs. But those are two awesome people in our community that I've already brought in that I'd love to introduce you to, that maybe, you know, you guys can partner up or help each other. So you're dropped off on a desert island. So this is you. This is you as a business owner, okay? You're dropped off on a desert island and you want to start your befriend your brand over, okay? So go back a year, 2 years, 5 years, however long. What would you do today, and what would you do in the next month to grow your business?
In the next month, the very first thing that I would do, because I'm on this desert island, do I have a laptop?
You do, yep.
I have,
yep.
Okay, so I have all the tools. Cool.
You have all the tools. You just don't have any customers or clients, or you don't have any brand awareness yet.
Cool. Okay. So the very first thing that I would do is I'm going to pull out a Google Doc and I'm going to say, how does my story relate to what my offer is? So if I'm on this desert island, I'm starting Befriend Your Brand, and Befriend Your Brand is helping other experts become go-to experts by building their brand awareness. So the first thing I want to do is, how can my story of how I got on this desert island actually relate to the people? Like, did I get stranded? Did I come off some boat? How can I make this fun and relatable? And then how can I flip that story into a pitch? That is where the PR comes from in my expertise. How can I turn this into a pitch? Because now we're going into making a really awesome VSL. And that is video sales letter for anyone listening that's like, what is all this jargon? So I want to create a really awesome video. And if it's not awesome, I don't want people to get hung up on that either. Start actually having conversations with your audience, talking to them about, what is it like to be on a desert island? Do they feel like a desert island in their business because, you know, no one else is around, no one's taking their business seriously? How can I start converging these stories and then making a pitch? Because I'm telling my story in this way and I'm showcasing what can be done. This is a receipt that others can see. And then I'm going to start building out my funnel. I'm going to start saying, you know, what is the one thing that people want from me? Is it these videos that I'm creating? Is it maybe a freebie? And then while I'm having these conversations, while I'm telling my story, I'm going to start sending them to that funnel. That funnel is usually going to be a freebie, a sales page, and then you're going to try to get them converted through, you know, a nurturing sequence, which is either an email, There's lots of really fun ways we can do it. I know traditionally we've done emails and things, but you could do it in podcasting. You could do it however. There's tons of ways now. And that is how I would restart my business. For the next 30 days, I would really focus on telling my story and then intermittently pitching my service and driving them to the funnel.
So how are you getting people to your funnel? How are they getting there? Facebook, Instagram, Google AdWords, how are they getting there?
I like organic methods. I really prefer Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn because right now those are some of the top social media engines that people are on, especially for the ones that I specifically do business with. You know, if you're somewhere else in the space, you may want to find your audience somewhere else. But I think that those top three have basically everyone that you need. They have, on Facebook, that's everyone. On Instagram, it's people who are more interested in visuals. So if you're good at video, if you have something really awesome to say, that's the place to be. On LinkedIn, if you're talking business topics, you need to be doing video on LinkedIn. You need to be writing blogs on LinkedIn. And that's how you start those conversations. And also in there, you should be pitching. You should be, you know, sending direct messages, or you should be creating relationships. So while you're having these conversations, the people that are commenting under your videos, or the people that are in industries with you, or if there's people that you find that are in similar industries or things that you can help, industries that you can help, those are the people that you need to be contacting. So it's not just putting out content, but you also want to be sure that in the midst of all that, you're building relationships. You are creating content so that people understand who you are, what you do, your value, all of those things. But then you also are reaching out to people so that you can understand more about them to see if you are a good fit with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you go to, something Dan Kennedy, I'm sure you know who Dan Kennedy is, shake your head. You know, Dan Kennedy, direct response. So, you know, he's always said that pros focus on relationships while amateurs focus on sales. So when you can add value and relationships into that, to your potential customers and clients, they no longer look at you as a salesperson. They look at you as a trusted figure. And the quicker that you can, we talked about this earlier, you know, sales, and I was talking to a gentleman last night, actually another agent, and you know, people that focus on sales, they're really good at that. Like they can go chase a sale, they can crawl after you, beg, pester, you know, tackle them, and they'll get that sale. They will get that sale. They're a smooth talker. They'll tell a prospective client anything they want to hear, but they got to do that again and again and again, because all they are salespeople. You know, really, really slick. But when you become the relationship person, when you become the expert, when you become the trusted advisor, it does take more time. It does take more time to build up that business. But you, after a while, business comes to you. You're attracting business, magnetic marketing, which is Dan Kennedy calls it, instead of chasing the business. So you and I speak the same language. I've loved our conversation. Are you teaching Befriend Your Brand to anybody, or is this you're just helping other businesses?
Yes, I'm also teaching it. I teach how to turn your story into a sales funnel, which brings you through the steps of how to tell your story in a way that's going to get that magnetic marketing, like you say, and then how to turn that into the sales funnel. What should your VSL say? How should you set up your sales page? What funnels do you need in your business that are actually going to lead people into converting into customers?
Awesome. So how do listeners, viewers find you, learn more about you? If they want to take your course, if they want to hire you, if they want to partner with you, how do they find you?
Go to befriendyourbrand.com. I have a free checklist. If you aren't ready for the course yet, and the course is a really great price, go on, get the course, get the whole thing. But if you're not ready for that and you're like, hey, just kind of give me an outline of the things that I should do, go ahead and get that free checklist, turn your story into a sales funnel, and it'll give you the 1, 2, 3 overview of what you should be doing in order to do that. You can pick that checklist up at befriendyourbrand.com.
And people can find you on, I saw Facebook, LinkedIn, how can people find you?
I am everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Those are my favorite channels at Jamillah R.
Awesome. Jamillah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I love talking about this stuff.
I loved our conversation. We could go on for probably about 2-3 hours talking about marketing, branding. That is episode 28 for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. Jamillah Rahmaad, befriend your brand, and we are out.